Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Chef James MacInnis and today we are doing a reaction to the channel Souped Up Recipes. This is our first time visiting this channel and we're still searching for different Chinese recipes. This one is a Taiwanese 3-cup soup recipe. If you have any recommendations for any Chinese content creators down below, is where you can put them. That way we can try watching them here. I'm going to assume that by the time this video has come out, crossing my fingers, that we will have hit that 2,000 subscriber mark that I keep mentioning and bringing up. So I'm hoping that there should either be a poll up right now on the 4 different choices for you to vote on that I'm going to cook, or maybe the polling's already closed and I'm already cooking at this point. Who knows? I am shooting these about 3 or 4 weeks in advance. Alright, now with that said, let's jump into the video and see what all the hype about this Taiwanese 3-cup chicken recipe is.
Hi everyone! Welcome to Souped Up Recipes. Today we're making 3-cup chicken. This recipe is originally from Jiangxi province. Now it becomes famous in Taiwan. The chicken is super flavorful, tender, juicy, and it's so easy to make. I'm so excited to share it.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be a soup just based off of the channel name. But those look like chicken wings, and she's just pulling the bones out. They look very tender, but the skin looks very crispy. Let's see how she did that.
With you. First, let's talk about the chicken. Traditionally, this dish is done with a whole chicken. You chopped it up into 1.5 inches size because we like to cook the chicken with the bones for more flavors. But I'm lazy today and I don't want to deal with a whole chicken, so I got here 2 pounds of chicken wings. They are the perfect size and have the perfect ratio between the meat and the bones. We're not going to do anything besides drying them with...
I like how she mentions what traditional is and how she's varying from it and why she's varying from it. Sometimes you'll see cooking videos done by, let's say, celebrities. And they just put their own spin on it, and there's no real explanation why they're deviating from classic tradition. Here, she's got a very good reason. You know, the chicken wings have the right ratio of meat to bone. They're just easier to work with when you're trying to just get this done. I'm assuming when she says I'm going to be ladylike today, I'm assuming that's kind of like an all-around for this is a quicker way to do it, and it's still fine. And giving that background, that explanation on whole chicken and how to process the whole chicken, I think adds some authenticity to what she has to say.
A paper towel. Set that aside and heat up your frying pan. Add 1.5 tablespoons of oil. Toss it around so the oil coats the bottom. Throw in 4 slices of ginger, 6 to 8 pieces of dried red chilies, 4 pieces of white part of spring onion. An important ingredient is garlic. I used about 15 cloves. Just simply slice them in half. You can use more, but don't decrease the amount of garlic because it is the key ingredient in this recipe, which I will talk about it later.
Wow! 15 cloves of garlic is like 2 whole bulbs. Now don't get me wrong, I love garlic. In fact, usually if recipes that I prefer to do at home, usually more around the Italian base of things, and they call for like roasted garlic. If I need 1 or 2 bulbs of roasted garlic, which really mellows out the flavor, I'll roast them earlier in the day. They take about an hour, about 5 minutes to get the garlic ready. Take the top off of it. That's all I gotta do is just cut the top off, put some olive oil on it, sprinkle some salt on it, and wrap them in tin foil, leaving the tops exposed. Put them in the oven for about 45 minutes, and when you take the garlic after, you can squeeze it. It'll just come, you don't have to peel it, it'll just come right out. So I'll usually always do at least one extra bulb because it gets, as it mellows out, it gets sweet too. You got a lot of roasted garlic flavor and some sweetness there. So I will normally eat at least one whole bulb while working like while cooking dinner that night. I'll just keep picking at it. So but when I see whole garlic like this, 15 cloves, I know that that's 2 bulbs, give or take. And all she did was cut it in half. That's a lot of garlic. I'm wondering how she's going to be, if she's going to be confit it, which is what we would call, say, put it in some oil, let the oil come up to temp, shut it off, and let the garlic just mellow in there for 15-20 minutes. That would get you something close to what I described on roasting, but not quite. But we would call that confit garlic, which is just cooked in fat. I'm not sure where she's going with this. I'm kind of interested.
To the pan as well. Stir them on medium-low heat for about 3 or 4 minutes. You see the garlic is nice and sizzling. You want to cook the garlic until it is soft and slightly golden, just like that. Push all the aromatics to the side so you have room for the chicken. Adjust each piece to let the meat touch the bottom. My frying pan is a bit small for that much chicken. It barely fits, but that is okay. It will shrink a little bit as it gets cooked.
So I would disagree with her on it being okay. I would prefer to see her doing this in 2 batches because right off the bat, when you add that much mass, you're going to decrease the temperature in the pan. And she's working in a residential stove, so its BTU output is lower than a restaurant one I'm used to. I wouldn't even try that at the restaurant with our high-powered stove. I would overload the pan there, and you're going to end up boiling the meat. You'll eventually get that crisp, but it will be slower to cook one oversized batch than it is to break it up properly and cook it in 2. And you'll get a better result by breaking it up.
Chicken is sizzling. You want to move all the aromatics to the top so they don't get burned. Fry the chicken on one side for 5 to 6 minutes. Give it a check. If it's beautifully golden, you can flip them over and fry the other side. We want to brown as much surfaces as possible. Once you are satisfied with the browning,
so you would get more browned surface if they had more room to not be on top of each other. I'm going to stop harping on this because I don't want to just seem like I'm just picking on her for this.
Turn the heat to low. Empty a center space, that is for the sugar, 3 tablespoons. Slowly stir it in about 2 or 3 minutes. It should be nicely caramelized. Toss all the ingredients in the pan so the sugar coats the chicken. That looks amazing already. Transfer this into a clay pot. If you don't have a clay pot, a heavy-duty Dutch oven or a slow cooker will work as well. If you want to use this regular pot, it's better to be non-stick because the sauce is going to be thick. It will likely stick to the bottom. The reason why this dish is called 3-cup chicken is that there are only 3 kinds of liquid ingredients, which are 3/4 cup of rice wine, Shaoxing wine works perfect, 5 tablespoons of light soy sauce, and sesame oil. The original recipe called for 1/4 cup of sesame oil. I think that is way too much, so I twisted with 1.5 tablespoons of regular cooking oil, which I added to the frying pan in the beginning. Plus, I just drizzled about 1 tablespoon of sesame oil for nutty taste.
So when she said 3 cup and 3 liquid ingredients, I thought she was going to drop a whole cup of each, not portions of not smaller portions. So that's kind of cool though. I do like the liquid components going in. Everything seemed to make sense, and one thing I've noticed with Chinese cooking specifically is I can draw a lot of parallels from Chinese cooking back to French and European cooking. So I'm a lot more comfortable with this than I am with Indian cooking. We've been doing a lot of Indian cooking on this channel. I'm not very comfortable with a lot of what I'm seeing just because of the Indian food is just so spice rich because they have the best spices in the world. And they're really using those in a way that I find challenging and I'd really like to get proficient at. Like, I want to say I'm afraid of Indian cooking in a good way. Like, it's a fear, a challenge I want to climb. And I'm not trying to downplay Chinese cooking by any stretch. All I'm saying is that the techniques I'm seeing here are a little more close to home and they just feel more familiar.
Additional ingredient: dry bamboo shoot, which looks like this. I am just using few pieces. Cut it into bite size. This is totally optional. I just like to have something else to eat besides the chicken. If you are 100% meat eater, you can skip this or use dry shiitake mushroom. Soak it with warm water for an hour in advance until they are soft. Add that to the clay pot. Give it a nice mix. Turn the heat to low. Let it cook for about 40 minutes. During this time, you want to come back every 10 minutes to give it a stir. As you can see, the sauce is at a low level. The top part of the chicken is not getting any love. Flipping them will ensure the flavor to infuse evenly.
So, a couple things too. I was a little worried in the frying pan stage when she was just taking the aromatics and putting them over the raw chicken on the top. And I was wondering, because now you've contaminated them with raw chicken salmonella. I was just wondering how she was going to get them up to temperature when she was with the pan that crowded to ensure that there was no more pathogens present. Dropping them in this pot for this amount of time, this is definitely more than enough. So not worried at all. I like seeing the bamboo shoots there. That's kind of a cool thing. Maybe I can't get bamboo shoots. I like how she mentions the shiitake mushrooms are a good alternative.
Later, the sauce is very glossy and thick now. There is very little sauce left. If you still have lots of sauce in there, you can turn the heat to high and reduce it. Now it is the time to add a bunch of basil. In Jiangxi province, this dish doesn't have basil, but in the Taiwanese version, basil is the must-have ingredient. Turn off the heat and you can serve.
That was a lot of basil. I'm wondering, is Asian basil different than European basil? I wouldn't use that much basil, the basil that we grow here in our gardens. And before I throw it in there, what I would like to do is smack it up a bit. Really release those oils, rough it up a bit and toss it in.
That all the garlic is gone. Well, they are all melted into that glossy sauce. This is the secret of this recipe. The seasonings might look simple, but it's extremely savory. Look at that. Nice, shiny, rich sauce with some fresh basil. Let me show you how tender it is. You can pull the bones out of the chicken wing easily. I'm so excited. Grab it with my finger. That's the right way to eat chicken wings. It's sweet, savory, little bit spicy kick, And that basil, oh my god, it just takes this dish to another level. And it's really satisfied when you bite into that succulent, tender, juicy wings. Oh my god, so good. I hope you give this or my other recipes a try soon. If you haven't yet,
Okay, so before we get too far into the conclusion, I just want to mention that keeping those whole garlics in that pot at that lower heat, stirring them up, that would end up being extremely similar to the confit garlic that I described in how I like to prepare. One of my ways of preferential ways of cooking garlic. I love chicken wings. I went through 2 years ago for my birthday. My wife got me an air fryer, and I went through a big chicken wing kick that for like 2 months. All I was eating was chicken wings, nonstop. For lunch when I wasn't at work, so like the 2 days a week I'm not at work, I was eating chicken wings at least one of those days, sometimes two, sometimes even a third day after work, because chicken wings, especially in North America, chicken wings we go through tons of chicken wings here. Every roadhouse, pub style restaurant has them as an appetizer. You get them as a meal. You just get more of them. There are restaurants that'll do, at least used to, because chicken wings have gotten expensive. They used to do all you can eat chicken wings, or like 10-cent chicken wings, like 10 cents a piece, which would just be ridiculous. It's always tied to a beverage though. Like, you only get the deal if you buy a beverage. So, anyways, we have a big obsession with chicken wings here. That looks like something I'd be interested in trying, some of these more Asian style chicken wing recipes, because basically we've only got a couple. For us, we do them the way we do them. We deep fry them usually, and then they get hit with sauce after the cooking. They get tossed in sauce and put on the plates. There's not this much love going into them, so I'd like to try some of these deeper, longer, richer chicken wing recipes. All right, well, that was my first time watching a video from Souped Up Recipes. I've been Chef James, and you've been you. We'll see you next week.